What's happening, guys? Paladin here, and welcome to another video. Today I want to discuss a little bit about a new build that I saw online. I didn't actually see it. Some of you sent it to me on Instagram. The build is not mine, what you see on the screen right now. The build is from the YouTuber called Nesh, the Italian one. He also has a Twitch channel. Anyway, the video was sent to me today by a subscriber. I had no idea that this one existed in the first place. Apparently, he made the list with someone else that managed to reach day 2 in the North American WCQ or something like that. The concept of the deck is to not play branded fusion almost at all. Like this variant's playstyle is like very similar to the Dragon Link one. In other words, you summon Synchros on your first turn, and you don't actually play branded fusion if you are not forced to. I tried the build myself today, like with that small amount of time I had today. I tested it online, so you will see a couple of replays in a bit. I have some, let's say, mixed feelings about it. Like when I first saw the build, I was like, this is like not as good. When I tested that though, it felt way better than it seems. You will see in the replays what I mean. The list originally had Nibiru in the main. I removed Nibiru. I don't like the card, to be honest, in this build specifically. I didn't like it while testing, so I removed it. But pretty much every other card you see here on screen is like the build that Nesh made card by card. So the concept, as I said, is to summon the Synchros turn 1, and if you can, you go for Mirror Jet, Granunyol, and then from there, to the fusion shenanigans that the deck can make, but without branded fusion, which is important. While testing this variant, the best thing about it is that most of the opponents, when they saw the deck, like normal summoning Quem, for example, they did not know where to hand trap it. Like they expected to throw the ash on a potential branded fusion, but I did not activate the branded fusion at all when I played the deck. Like I kept it in hand for like turn 3, and that's very good. Like when your opponent doesn't know where to hand trap you. Second good thing about this is that this specific build right here takes full advantage of the bestial Aluber. Like this card on paper seemed like useless till now, but in this build, this shit is the real MVP in my opinion. Like you will see why in a little bit. So this is the build, like 10 bestials. 3, if I'm correct, he played 3 Cartesians. So let's just put one more in. So he plays 3 Fallen of Albas, 3 Quests, 3 Cartesians, 3 branded fusions. But as I said, the concept of this build is to not actually activate it turn 1. So you keep it in hand, and you actually have it as a follow-up to end, your opponent. So he plays 3 times, 3 copies of Albas, 3 copies of Quem, 3 copies of Cartesia. He plays 1 copy of the Bestial Aluber, and the rest is pretty much standard. I guess Dark Ruler No More in Perma and Nibiru is basically for the cash matchup, because I've noticed that the rest of the matchups weren't that hard. It's basically Castira that's maybe the problem when it comes to this deck specifically. So anyway, let's go straight to the replays, and you will see yourselves what I'm talking about. So first replay here, we play against Castira, as you can see. Alright, we search the bestial, we banish Tragedy to add Quem dumps the bestial Aluber. We go for this spotter, and we add Aluber back on board. It's basically this deck's concept. It's very similar to the Dragon Link one. Like you play with the bestials, you play a lot with the spotter, you summon the level 10 synchros you have. Sometimes you even summon Lulu turn 1 along with the other two, and as you can see here, you basically treat Aluber as a Fallen of Albas in the graveyard, and you can actually fuse with it with Branded in White to go for Mirror Jade without even activating Branded Fusion. Like you use Granuol or anything else you want from the board, and Bestial Aluber or Fallen of Albas, depending on your hand and what you want to do. So this is the rest of the replay with the interruptions. Branded Regained summons back the spotter, just like the Dragon Link matchup. Baron is there, so you can dodge stuff like Evenly Matched or Nibiru or whatever from your opponent. The spotter is also another interruption. He either negates or destroys regarding according to what is banished from either side. And as you can see here, we have Branded Fusion as a follow-up for turn 3 to actually kill our opponent. Good thing about this variant is that it has the resources to actually end the game turn 3. Like it puts on board many beefy bosses, as you can see. So OTKing is not really a problem here. Most of the times you have one Mirror Jade, one Baron de Fleur, and one Dispatter. And other than that, like a Mercurial in hand or Impermanence as a fourth, let's say, interruptions. And sometimes, personally, depending on the matchup, I go for Boreal Furious Dragon, because you can make it very easily with Branded in White and the bestials here, or Cartesia, if you want to use, let's say, 2 bestials from the board other than Lubellion or whatever. And this is where the first replay basically ends. Let's go to the second one versus Sword Soul, if I'm correct. Yes, Sword Soul. Here we use Gold Sarcophagus or Woolly's Burial to actually add Quem in hand. Quem is very important here. Like, it's probably the most important card along with the Bestial Aluber in this variant. So it's basically the starter you want to have. As you saw here, Bestial Aluber counts as a Fallen of Albas on board and in the graveyard, which basically helps special summon Cartesia from hand for free without having to care for stuff like fusion deployment or other crap like that you may use in a standard build. Lubellion actually tributes the spotter, just like the Dragon Link variant, and the play is basically the same as in the previous replay, like almost the same board, as you can see here. This deck has many ways to actually have access to Branded in White, which is, in my opinion, maybe the best spell right now in this variant. And as you can see, you will summon this pattern here. Granuol is in the graveyard for another disruption. You can summon either Quem from the deck or Lulu from the extra deck. Do whatever you want. If you want another interruption, like in terms of board removal, You can summon QM, jump Fallen of Albaz, and when you have the chance, you just special summon the Fallen of Albaz and clear the board, depending on what your opponent plays. Here we banished Moye because we didn't want actually our opponent to go for the Yang Zing route. This pattern, as I said, works as another interruption. This is where QM comes in right now, like you see it here. This deck is very, very flexible regarding, let's say, the main deck. You don't really rely on stuff. You don't run stuff that locks you, that lock you into fusion summoning also. Like, for example, if you play stuff like deployment or branded opening or stuff like that, they lock you into fusion only. So if your, let's say, starters or fusion spells get negated, you don't have another way or a plan B, let's say, to actually continue and actually make a board. This build kind of doesn't have that drawback, to be honest. Bad thing, it actually requires to run a high monster count in the deck, but as you saw, it also has space for non-engine stuff like Dracula No More or Impermanence or Nibiru or whatever, like at least 6 to 9 cards, as you saw. And here's the final replay. We play against Tears here with this list. Originally I intended to actually make a replay video out of this. I may do that, to be honest. I didn't have the time today and I apologize for that. I wanted to make like a 6-7 replay video, with music and stuff, so you could see actually how the deck works. I didn't have the time, unfortunately, but I really wanted to make a video for this because I found it very, very impressive as an idea, because it basically mimics the Dragon Link variant, and which is not bad. Like this variant takes full advantage of the bestials, and in my opinion, the only, let's say, bad matchup here is the Castira one. If you don't open like Nibiru or Dark Rare No More or Impermanence or stuff like that, you may have a problem. But other than that, this deck, in my opinion, has a pretty good matchup versus pretty much anything. You know how good the bestials are right now, how strong they are, and in my opinion, the deck doesn't have the weaknesses that that the original variant has, the fusion one. So in my opinion, it deserves to actually give it a try. So let's actually end the replay. Let's continue with it. And as I said, good thing, this actual variant takes full advantage of the Bestial Aluber, like a card that was, let's say, dead on paper. People were not using it. So from me at least, props to the dude, to Nesh, for this. This was very impressive. Like as I said, when I first saw it, I had doubts. I was like, alright, this is kind of mediocre maybe, but as I've tested it, I kind of liked it maybe more. And the most funny thing about this variant is that my opponents did not know what the fuck was going on. Like, they expected me to actually play Branded Fusion. They had the fucking Ash Blossom in hand, and they did not know where to fucking throw it. Like, it was very funny while testing. It's very surprising, like on paper at least. So in my opinion, it actually deserves to give it a try. It may seem like not as good when you first see the list, but it's aggressive. It can actually OTK easily. It can have the resources. It has many advantages that the original variant doesn't have, in my opinion. Good thing, all this stuff that I said. The bad thing is that probably Magnamut will get limited in one or two lists from now. So I don't know what will happen after that. But for now, this variant is kind of good, for me at least. Like it's either this or the usual fusion variant that kind of dies to too many stuff. So this one actually seems very solid, at least for me. Another card that you actually can, summon on turn one and you can end up on is the Hieratic Link also. Stuff that I haven't used as much in this variant is the Chimera, although Branded in Red is not bad Chimera because you have almost always Gwem in the graveyard, so you can just grab it and go for Chimera. Chimera doesn't seem as impactful, let's say. So this and Rimbram aren't as strong. Maybe Rimbram against Cash, but other than that, not as much. The Border Load card is decent, it's very good. Dispatcher, in my opinion, is probably the most important card in this variant. It's like not only it offers a negate, but it also summons stuff from the banished zone, and basically with the bestials you kind of control what you want to summon with this dude. So this guy over here is probably the most important card, along with Baron de Fleur. Like these two cards are the most, let's say, impactful in this variant. In theory, it seems expensive, I won't lie, like 3 Lubellions, 3 Cartesias, Baron, and stuff like that. On paper, it is expensive. After the Megatins, this may be more affordable for many people, in my opinion. So this is my opinion for this variant, to be honest. I tested it, not as much as I wanted in the first place. I will test it more, to be honest. Like if I see that something doesn't fit or I don't like anything, I'll probably replace some cards with some of my own decks. But I find this very interesting. In fact, a very genius idea. Like in theory, you basically copy all the advantages that the Dragon Link variant has, and you put them into Despia, but you don't rely on the choke point, which is the Branded Fusion. So you don't die on a single Ash Blossom. That's the good thing, in my opinion. That's something that this variant does better when it comes to comparing with the original one, the Fusion one, the Branded Despia. Also, this one doesn't rely on bullshit like the puppet or whatever. My opinion, right? So as I said, it deserves to give it a try. I did. I liked it. I have tested more though, I won't lie. I want to test it against more meta decks to see what I can fit in the main or remove or whatever. Maybe I will change some stuff in the extra. As I said, big props to N3SH'S for this and the guy that worked with him. I don't know who he is, but this seems very interesting. Also thanks to the guys that sent in me the video on Instagram, so I can take a look. I didn't know this existed. Like this is like 1 week. This came out like 1 week ago. The video, I don't know. I will leave the link of the original video of N3SH'S in the comments down below if you want to take a look yourselves. I'd really like to hear your opinion on this, like see what you guys think about it. And as I said, it deserves to actually take a look and test it yourselves. So this is pretty much what I had to say. I found this very interesting. Test it. You can actually go and test it, and let me know what you think of this. So stay safe, and see you next time.